success of an entrepreneur.
We've raised the bar.
Learn firsthand from successful business owners and create your own path to success.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
It's time to hit the road to growth with team lead of the Enriquez Group, Realtor Vinny.
Hi, you Road to Growth listeners. Today I got Zack Boothe. So he is a real estate investor, a coach, and has his own podcast called Driving for Dollar Mastery. Thank you, Zack, for being here today.
Of course. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
So I know you have a couple different hats that you wear, and I'm just going to go for one of them right now, the coaching one, right? Now, what separates you from other coaches?
Well, I think there's a lot of great coaches and maybe some better coaches for me, right? I think the first thing, if you're looking at a coach, is make sure you really know what you want, like know what you want to accomplish, what you want to do, right? Because if you wanted to do multifamily syndication and do giant apartment complexes, I'm not your guy, right? Because I'm not currently doing and making a ton of money. Right? You want to make sure you know what you want to accomplish, and you find the guy that's doing and accomplishing that. So if you want to make a ton of money in real estate wholesaling, if you want to find deeply discounted properties and you're struggling to find enough small multifamily or single family houses, I'm your guy, right? And one of the things that differentiates me big time is you have my personal cell phone. Not a lot of coaches do that when you join my coaching program, right? I care about my students deeply. I have a picture of every single one of my students on my office wall. We have accountability Mondays. I want an update from every student every Monday. We have a group coaching call on Wednesdays, but then when you have a deal on the line, money on the line, you have my cell phone, right? And I want to be on the phone helping you negotiate that deal. So that's a big thing. And I have a big wall of successful students. I mean, very successful students. I love my students dearly. I'm actually flying out next week, going to San Diego. One of my students, kind of helped him from being a broke fireman, fighting for custody for his daughter with a toxic ex, and his new girlfriend. They're engaged and getting married, and they asked me to marry him. Wow. So I'm that close with the people I've worked with, which is not very common in the space. But I didn't ever coach because I wanted to like build this big coaching business. It was never an intention to become a coach. It actually happened accidentally. So, yeah. Okay.
Well, I got to ask, because you have the pictures of your students on the wall or your mentees on the wall, do they get taken off once they maybe graduate from coaching and expand to another field?
Yeah. So to get off my wall, there's only two ways to get off my wall.
Okay.
If I've called you and if you've made 3 commitments to me that you'll follow through and take action, and you don't take action, I take you off my wall. Okay. Right. And it breaks my heart, and I follow up and I push people and I hold people accountable. But if they're not willing to do the work, I can't help them. Right. Mm-hmm. So you come off my wall for that reason. Right. Or if you say, hey, I don't want to pursue this anymore. Or you come off my wall and you go on the success wall because you did a deal and you made money, and that's the whole goal, right? So I have a whole success wall out of my main lobby with all my successful students. So that's the goal.
Oh, so the active ones are in your office, and the ones that success or graduated are in somewhere else in the office.
Yeah. Yeah. The main lobby. And then I have this is my recording studio, but yeah, my office where I work with all my deer and stuff in there. So,
all right, well, let's rewind a little bit. Who was young Zack? I mean, the business mindset, the real estate guy. Who was a young Zack?
Lost.
Okay, there you go.
Lost. Zack was lost. Man, it's hindsight's 2020. I wish I could go back and be like, this is the way. This is how you do it. But I was blessed with some great parents. Taught me to work. Made my life extremely hard. So grateful for that. They cut me off financially at 16. So they had me start working when I was 11, doing yard care and landscaping for the family business. My dad's worked the same job since he was 19. He's 62 now, still there. And but after his corporate job, we'd mow lawns, me and my brothers. And I freaking hate mowing lawns. I do not mow my own lawn now. But I did that till I was about 11 to 15. Then from 15 to 17, I did, other landscaping jobs. I did taxidermy. I made handcrafted cheese, framed houses, finished carpentry. I did a bunch of stuff after school in the summers. Worked 80-hour work weeks my junior year summer to start my first business. Went to Nova Scotia, Canada, came back. And the reason I had to do that is my dad, I wanted a truck. I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to do my own thing. and I was sick of trading time for money, and I needed more money with less time because I wanted to do school, I wanted to do basketball, I wanted to date, and I needed the dollar bill, And so my dad wouldn't co-sign a loan for a truck. He's like, well, when I wanted a truck, I bought it cash. You can figure it out. So I was like, okay, I got to get the cash. I had to get a cell phone. I had to pay for the cell phone up front. I couldn't get a cell phone with credit. I had to go through Cricket. We had to pay it up front back then. It was a little candy bar phone. It was so much money to me back then. Paid for my insurance, all that stuff. And so I was able to do that, but I was pretty much out of money to get all those things put in place, business cards and so forth. And I started this little window cleaning company at 17 years old. And I went to work knocking doors. No idea what I was doing. No idea how to bid the window cleaning. Called people in the yellow books. Hey, my dad needs a bid for window cleaning. How much is it? And just figured it out and went door to door and built that business for actually a decade, and went through a lot of employees. From the outside looking in, I was super successful. I had 3 trucks and about 13 employees at one point. We're doing about $500,000 a year in sales. I had some window cleaning tutorial videos that I was teaching my staff, and I had a lot of high turnover from my window cleaning technicians. Those videos blew up. You can look up Window Cleaning Ventures and find them if you want to see me wash windows and how to do it. But I have some videos with like 10 million views, 20,000 comments. I ended up on the History Channel because of it. And so that was kind of my background. But I got to the point where I had a family, and the window cleaning wasn't enough. I was not satisfied. I felt like a failure. I wanted to provide a better life for my family that I just wasn't. And I needed something different. And that's kind of what pushed me from, having some success, but that success just wasn't enough. I needed something different.
That was definitely a mouthful, and you can definitely tell that you have the routine down, you have the story down.
I've sold it way too many times.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's rewind a little bit. Let's jump into this. So you said at 16 that your dad cut you off. He cut you off more so on, you still had food and shelter, just the extra stuff that you wanted.
He gave me $200 a year for clothing, housing, and food, and he said, the rest, you'll figure it out. You'll survive.
Now, so with did he push you into any sort of like entrepreneurship? I know you said landscaping that he kind of advised you on. I mean, what was his idea on what you were doing?
So my parents, like, sometimes I'm like, man, why do they have kids? They don't even like us, So my dad grew up in a pretty rough environment, alcoholic father, abusive stepfather. I feel bad for him, what he went through. He's an incredible man for how he was raised. And he wanted me to be a man. He wanted me to be independent. That was really his intention. And as far as entrepreneurship, no, they didn't encourage it. I wanted to drop out of school. I mean, I'll give you an example. I served a Christian mission in Sao Paulo, Brazil, a year after high school, throughout all this process. And, before that, the year before, I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to keep pushing that window cleaning business. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And they said, well, you're going to pay rent or you're going to pay tuition. So I paid tuition and didn't go to school. But they really wanted me to do school. They didn't actually love the idea of entrepreneurship. I actually had to wait till my 18th birthday to go get a business license because my dad wouldn't co-sign for any business licenses or workman's comps or anything like that. Obviously didn't want the liability, but there wasn't a lot of encouragement there. And I think part of it is my dad had built that window cleaning business, and it was really a huge thorn in his side. And my older brothers ran it into the ground. And I think he was really bitter about that, right? That his sons didn't own and take care of something that they worked together on. And I think that there's a combination of those things, but, it's funny. I was telling my mom the other day, I heard her bragging that she had helped me get started in my business. And I was like, you're so full of crap, Mom. I was like, I fell off a ladder, broke my foot, and had to lie that I did it playing basketball. So you didn't tell me to quit, So like, there wasn't a lot of, I would say, necessarily encouragement, but they taught me to work hard, right? They taught me to work hard, and they gave me opportunities to feel the pain of being broke at a young age. Most people are figuring these feelings out after they get out of college, like they get a free ride from mom and dad till they're in their mid-20s. And I was 16. I was where most people are in a decade from then. So I'm so grateful for that.
Now you're you're building your business and you're hiring people. You talked about that you had at one time 16 people underneath you. Were those
13 was the max.
13? Sorry,
Yeah.
13 people underneath you. Were those people a 1099 or were they basically? I mean, what was their situation?
All W-2. So I had workman's
W-2,
comp.
okay.
Yeah, it was tough. And workman's comp's putting people on ladders expensive, and the insurance. And, I had window well covers go through windows and broken windows and dented cars. And it was horrible. I mean, the bigger I got, the less money I made. It was horrible. It was so frustrating.
That's a problem with a lot of people. Now, you weren't going to school, so where were you getting the information, the education of hiring people, bringing people on, getting your business license? I mean, did you have a mentor?
No, then I was an idiot, dude. I used to have this major limiting belief. I struggled in school, and I still kind of struggles to learn. I've learned some techniques and strategies that have really served me. But I used to have this major limiting belief that Mr. Tony Robbins has helped me overcome. And I used to say this to him. This is the sentence I'd say. I said, Zach, you're really stupid, so you're going to have to hustle. And it pushed me. It actually helped me for a time. Yeah, that's a problem with limiting beliefs. They serve you for a period of time, but then they hold you back. And so it served me because I rolled up my sleeves and I made mistakes and I figured it out and I hustled, right? I had no idea how to bid a house. I figured out a way. I couldn't get bigger contracts, the credit unions, the route work, right? The big stuff, the big contracts, because they wanted licensing. They wanted me bonded. They wanted my insurance packet. They wanted all this stuff. So I was like, okay, what's insurance? Yellow Pages. I didn't have the internet, this is back in the day. And so I'd open the Yellow Pages, insurance, call insurance. Hey, I want to get window cleaning contracts. And they said, insurance. What does that mean? I just asked. I didn't know. And I ended up, like, my senior year of high school, I was able to, there was an entrepreneur teacher, and he's probably the only real mentor that I had until I was in my mid-20s. And there's a program called DECA. I don't remember what it stands for, DECA. It was basically an entrepreneur club. And I remember my junior year of school? Yeah, it was my junior year of school. I drew the logo of my business and I wrote my business plan for this window cleaning business. And I've been dreaming of doing it. The teacher's like, you could win DECA and you could blah, 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 and get scholarships. And I was like, well, I don't really want to go compete. I want to go do it. And so he kind of encouraged me and told me about, what an LLC was and how to set those up and where to go. And I learned a lot from him, but most of it was just failing forward. I remember the first day I finally made $100 in a day and I was like, holy crap, I'm gonna be rich. And then the first day I made 1,000, the first day I made 2,000. And it's just kind of been that way. I remember the first time I made $100,000 in a day, first paycheck of $100,000, once I got into real estate, of course, but it's been an evolution, a process to become the entrepreneur that I am today. It wasn't easy for sure.
Now, you talk about the journey. All right, you built this company, 10 years into it, you have the employees, you're making money, yet the more people you bring on, the less you're actually making. You got family. When does the idea, you already had, it sounds like an investment property, and when does the idea of going fully into real estate come about?
Yeah, so I actually started way young. I was 14. I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So what happened is I was mowing lawns with my dad, ticked off that I had to go mow and my friends are playing. And I remember kind of upset, and I was looking at these giant houses up above the Capitol in Salt Lake City, next to the Jazz players and, the Jazz owner. I waved at him a couple times and I was like, why are we so different? And I remember thinking, like, why does no one mow my lawn? Why do I not have a mansion? Why does my dad not drive a sports car? Like, what is going on? Like, something's weird. And I remember my little brain couldn't comprehend it. I went to my dad and I said, Dad, like, how much money do you think these people make? And he's like, I don't know, son, probably $500,000 a year or more. And looking at it now, it's like most of those people made much, much more than that with their investments and everything else. Right. And I'm like, well, how do you make money? Like, what do they do? Like, I didn't understand it. I was like, and I was asking my dad, and my dad, I love him. He's like, I don't know, son, ask my friend, he has a rich friend. And I was like, who? And he's like, Clint. And I'm like, dude, Clint's poor. Have you seen his truck? You know, just associated nice vehicles with money, you know? He's like, no, son, he's just super cheap, but he's really rich. He's got a bunch of real estate. So Clint, now I think he owns like 300 and something units now. Good dude. I went to Alaska with him last year. He's a funny guy, he's just super friendly. But he gave me the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was 14 years old. So I read the book and got my brain thinking about real estate, about building a business, taking ownership of my financial life. So I started a business basically off of that book. And then when I was about to be married, I'd just gotten home off that mission from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and I didn't want to pay rent, right? And I thought I came up with the idea, but it's a very old idea. It's called house hacking, where you live in part of the house and rent the other and live rent free. So I was looking for a duplex, and this was back in 2012. And if many of you know this, a lot of the banks were unloading their foreclosures, lots of deeply discounted investment opportunities, right? Especially the small single family or small multifamily deals. So I bought this duplex, great deal, had termites, had standing water in the basement. It was my paradise, right? I could roll up my sleeves and earn some equity. And, my monthly payment on that bad boy was like $450, and I rented the other unit out for $750 after putting $20,000 in materials. So that's how I got my start, right? I house hacked my first house in 2012. So that was my first taste of real estate. And once it was all set up, I was like, this is insane. I just increased my net worth by like 20, 30 grand, and I have cash flow. I'm living rent free. I was like, this is incredible, right? And I wanted more. So that was what really got me a taste and what got me started.
So 2012, were you still working, or did you still have the window company at that time?
Yeah. I didn't fully walk away from the window cleaning company till March 2nd, 2017. It was my birthday. Okay. And I said, I quit.
So 5-year journey until you actually went full time into real estate. I mean, and I know you already had your company. Yet, I mean, I've had a lot of people on that switch from corporate world to starting their own business, and they have some kind of like plan, or they go, okay, I'm going to hit this number that I have in the bank, or it's going to be this certain date, or sometimes people go off with their gut. What was it for you? Was it a certain number? Was it gut? Was it?
No, I'm an idiot. So I didn't have enough of a plan, definitely shooting from the hip. So what had happened through that 5-year process, I had bought a couple more rentals, and then I hit that roadblock of how do I find more deals, because my wife didn't want a house hack. She didn't want to live with tenants anymore. We now have kids. And so I'm stuck in the single family house, and to buy another rental, I need 25% down. I didn't have 25% down. I picked up a couple more seller finance, and I was like, okay, well, how do I do more? I'm stuck. Like, I want to invest. I want to become a full-time investor. Well, I heard about a strategy called wholesaling, right? And for the audience that doesn't know what this is, perhaps it's where you find deeply discounted opportunities and pass them on for a finder's fee to someone that wants it, right? And people are talking about tens of thousands of dollars for a finder's fee. And I'm just like, holy crap, if this is real, this is amazing. I was very much a skeptic, of course, and doubted it for a few years before I finally saw it happen to me. I was washing windows for a wealthy gentleman. He passed on 2 properties to me for a huge discount. I made over $100,000 on him. And he was a wealthy developer. He educated me on how to do it. Like, I was like, oh, okay, great. And he just didn't want to deal with them. He had 2 giant development deals, and he had this property manager bail on him. He's like, I have these 2. I don't want to deal with them. Take them. Right. He signed we got a piece of white print paper, and he just wrote out the agreement and took it to the title company. It was amazing. Right. So I had that experience. I was like, man, there's a deal of a lifetime out there. Can I find more? Can I get a deal of a lifetime every week? Because if I can do that, my life's set. Right. And so I went on this journey of who's the real estate wholesaling coach? I need a coach. And at that point, I had started listening books and reading podcasts and opening up my mind to people like Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy, and really changing who I was and my core beliefs and my thoughts. And it was amazing. I'm out there washing windows, and it's like, oh, wow, I'm an idiot. I should have known those things, And so I decide to look for a mentor, and I found my mentors, Tom Kroll and Cody Hoffine. They don't coach anymore, but incredible human beings. Love them to death. Still talk to them to this day. But they taught me wholesaling. They taught me step-by-step how to wholesale. I joined their program in like the very beginning of February 2017. And I was trying to run both my window cleaning business and try and get the side hustle up. And at that point, I had brought on a business partner. He'd been with me for a couple of years as a friend from high school. And it's one of those limiting beliefs where I thought I was too stupid to know how to set up a CRM. All I needed is a really smart bookkeeper / assistant, right? But instead, I gave away half of my company and brought on a business partner that had complete different visions and hustle and work ethic than I did. And it just was a horrible mistake, right? Because of that limiting belief. And I went to that business partner on my birthday, March 2nd. And I said, hey, I quit. If there's profits, pay me. If not, cash me out. If not, I'm done. I don't care. And business I built for a decade, I was done. I had a couple months till I'd go broke, but I had not even done a wholesale deal yet. I didn't know if I'd fail, but I didn't want to do windows anymore.
What was that kicker then? What was that thing that said, I need to just call it quits with this? I mean, was there a particular moment? Was there an idea? Was it, what happened that said, I just have to say, I'm walking away. I'm done with this.
The first thing is I believed in my coach, right? I believed in the process and the success stories and the students that I had talked to of that coach. I was like, man, this stuff is real. They're really doing the work. And I had these tasks that I was supposed to be doing, but I wasn't doing them because I was having to deal with the window cleaning business. And I felt like I was doing everything and having to share the profits. And I was frustrated. And I was like, I am so upset. I'm so angry. I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail either way. I better fail trying and giving it my all. And so I went for it. And my thought process is like, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll pivot. I'll figure it out. It wouldn't be the first time. I remember getting my window cleaning business off the ground and getting contracts for year-round work. My winters sucked. In the winters, I found myself building custom furniture that I learned how to do from carpentry as a teenager. I found myself doing sheetrock and tile work and whatever I could get to get money to feed my family. In the winter, I had already had to hustle, right? So I figured I could figure it out. And I went for it. And it worked out, I guess. So
you said you had how long? 3 months?
I had 2 to 3 months before I couldn't pay my mortgage. Yeah.
Okay. So 2 to 3 months, and you're married at this time, right?
Yeah. With a pregnant wife and 1 child.
Okay. So what was her? I mean, you go, okay, I have faith in this plan. And I think for people listening right there, we can have faith in the plan for ourselves. And sometimes when we bring in a family member, a wife, a kid, that faith can vary a little bit or dwindle a little bit. So what happened there when you had this conversation about, hey, I'm quitting this business and I'm going off to wholesaling?
Well, it's even more than that. I remember back when we were first married, her dad's a very educated man, to basically doctorate's degree, speaks 3 languages. And I had to tell her I was going to drop out of college to pursue my entrepreneurial dreams. And I was so terrified. I was like, she's going to dump me. I was like, this is going to be like a marriage of like 6 months. This is bad. And I went to her and I said, babe, like, I love being an entrepreneur. It's what I want to do. Like, I want to give it 100%. I'm bogged down with school. And she said, I believe in you. And I was blown away because I expected there to be doubt or some fear, right? And there wasn't. And I'm going to get emotional talking about my sweet wife. Give me a sec. Sorry. You asked a good one. And I had to prove her right. That's what it did for me. Right? Those late nights, those moments when I wanted to stop working, I wouldn't stop because I knew I had to prove her right. And when I started the journey in real estate, making all these mistakes and making risks and getting debt and leveraging debt and paying for mentorships and events and dumping money on credit cards, she never questioned me. When I joined Tom and Cody, it was $9,000 for their coaching program. Most of it went on credit cards. A lot of my marketing went on credit cards. And she just said, okay, I believe in you. When I said, I'm going to quit and do this, she said, okay, I believe in you. And I had to prove her right. Right? She is the most amazing, fun, supportive, beautiful woman I've ever met. Right? I'm absolutely crazy in love with my wife. We've been married for 10 years. We have 2 beautiful children, and it's the most important, special part of my life. So, yes, I don't know if it's anything great that I did to deserve her, but she is an incredible spouse and she supports me. And I think that, I can't give marital advice. I think she's great. That's why our marriage is so great. But, supporting your spouse and saying, I believe in you, might be the best thing to encourage and motivate your spouse instead of giving doubt, right? That might cause resentment. But yeah, she's been incredible.
Do you think there's any goal that would be so huge that I believe in you might dwindle a tad bit with her?
Oh, she has her expectations. She wants her castle this year. She's
Okay.
made that very clear to me. Because I'm still very cheap. We live in a very
Yeah.
simple house. I drive a Prius. I make over $1 million a year, and and my wife's like, honey, and I'm like, okay, well, like we'll take just a portion of this revenue, and like we got to make our investments pay for it. She's like, stop, get my house. Like we hustled long enough, and so she does want, and it's good, and I'm so excited and grateful that I can spoil her a little bit. But yeah, I think there might be a limit, and I think that there might be a point where her kids going hungry, her kids going without, and her going hungry and going without. I think that would be a no for sure. But I know that, like I mentioned, there was moments in our marriage where I had to pick up side gigs. I had to work late nights. When we were engaged, she's actually from Brazil. She's a Brazilian. And we were going through it all. I was in school. I was doing trade work for our immigration attorney, and I was running my business. I was working 90 to 100 hours a week. I was barely sleeping. I hit the attorney's house. I did Naughty Alder beams in their kitchen, new sheetrock, Naughty Alder base case and doors, stained it all. I did a slate entrance walkway. I basically did like a ton of remodel work, stuff I learned as a teenager and then YouTube to figure out the rest of it. But I had met the attorney's daughter in college and found out that her mom was a Brazilian, and he married her and then became an attorney, an immigration attorney. And so made that connection with the Brazilians and then was able to negotiate trade work. But man, like there was so many moments in my life and in our marriage that she saw me hustle and she saw me not make excuses. I never once was late on any payment of any kind. There was always money for food. There was always payments for the mortgage. There was always payments for all of our bills. Always.
In building this real estate portfolio that you've built over the years, what has been the biggest hurdle, hiccup to kind of work through? It seems like you had a game plan and you kind of replicated that game plan pretty consistently. Yet, was there something that you had to work through and go, oh, this is something new, I was ready for this?
Yeah, there's a couple things that I've done wrong. Looking back, I wish I'd have done different. One of them is I wish I'd have realized that, like, especially during the studies phase of it, is real estate investing is marketing. Your business isn't flipping houses. Your business isn't wholesaling. Your business isn't holding properties. Those are strategies to monetize deals, right? And those are ways that you make money. And, you might want to take advantage of tax benefits. And so you buy a property for more for the depreciation than you do for the property, right? There's strategy or exit strategies. But the business itself is finding deeply discounted deals. If you can't find deeply discounted deals, you will never have a business. So for years, that was my mistake. I was trying to buy rentals, focus on rentals. It was 5 years of wasting my time. I should have been focused on finding deeply discounted deals. That's why I love wholesaling. It's an extra strategy, yes, but you're moving properties so fast, you have to focus on finding discounted deals. Where a flip, you might get bogged down in a flip for 3-4 months, especially if you're swinging the hammer. Right. And so you don't feel that pain of I need a deal. So I wish that I would have known that and understood that our business is marketing and the product is real estate, if that makes sense.
No,
so that's it.
Sense.
Yeah, that was the first mistake. Second one, I thought to become successful as a real estate investor, you time the market. It's not what makes you successful as a real estate investor. If I get good at finding properties at 50, 60 cents on the dollar, and I buy that property and I hold that property and the market drops 20, 30%, but I'm still cash flowing with the tenants, it doesn't matter because guess what? It's going to go back up because Uncle Sam's going to continue to print money because we're on a fiat currency. It doesn't matter. right? And holding properties makes sense, dude. There was a certain point where it was like, the market's totally going to crash. And I liquidated my entire portfolio like 3 years ago. Idiot. I'm an idiot. Huge mistake. It cost me, oh, dude, I can't even tell you how much money that has cost me, because now the properties are gone. I didn't capture the last 3 years of inflation. On top of that, I don't get the depreciation anymore. On top of that, I paid taxes. It's cost me millions of dollars.
Don't kick yourself. If anyone says that they thought the market was going to go up this drastic, at least in San Diego, and I know across the United States, they're lying to you. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
I'll never sell another rental again the rest of my life, dude. Never.
Yeah. Now you're in the coaching, you have the podcast, giving information out there besides basically building wealth for yourself. Where do you see your business going in the next 5 years?
I want to make a massive impact and change a ton of lives. So I coach people to get started in real estate wholesaling, right? But there's lots of niches within real estate that are not my area of expertise. Like I said, multifamily investing, not my gig, right? There's things like virtual wholesaling. There's trailers and trailer parks. There's lots of different cool ways to make an absolute fortune in this space. And so I want to bring on other coaches that specialize and are really good and that have the heart of a teacher like I do, and teach them how to influence and teach and make a difference. And so I basically want to have a publishing company for coaches. Like I want to be the CNBC of, CNBC, whatever, for real estate investing coaches, right? But I want to make sure it's the right coach that really understands their niche and help them grow that. So I just brought on another coach that does virtual wholesaling. That's his gig. That's what he knows. And so, if anyone wants to do virtual wholesaling, wants to do wholesaling, right? I'm the guy to come to be able to know how to do that. So that's where I'm going with the coaching business. I want to just make a massive impact. I want to change as many lives as possible. I want to take young Zack Booth and turn him into the Zack Booth to today, right? I love it. And then as far as my wholesaling / investing business, I want to continue to cherry pick as many as I can, right? I want to take advantage of the depreciation for my tax purposes. And we're still flipping houses and wholesaling houses. We'll do over $1 million this year, did over $1 million last year, and we'll just keep it going.
Now, being that there's, again, and I said this at the beginning of it, there's so many coaches out there, right? And you're basically going to be the channel, or you're looking to be the channel where coaches can provide their information in their specialty, right? Their real estate specialty. How do you vet the coach to make sure they're actually a quality coach and good at what they do?
Success of their students.
Okay, so what do they have to do to show you that success? Is it basically
I'd have to call the students and see that the students are actually making money, right? Because there's two things that makes you a good coach, right? Is you really understand the process so granularly that you can say step 1 through 10, right? Like basic 3-4 minute video. This is the action step. And that they know exactly at what point do people lose faith? At what point do they find hangups or have questions, right? And that they're there and available to their students, that they're pushing them through their limiting beliefs. They're there for them when they have a family member come and say, it's not possible, you're wasting your money, blah, blah, blah. I know a guy that one time, did this and blah, 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 right? You always have that. And to be there to encourage and to help build them up, because if they have a limiting belief, if they don't believe it's possible, they're not going to take massive action. If they don't take massive action, they won't get results, and they'll say, I knew it. I knew I was going to fail, and they'll spiral downward in life and they'll never have success. But if they have massive belief and they take massive action, they get those massive results, they'll say, see, I knew I was right. I knew I could do it. And they're going to take action on the next thing with the same amount of confidence, and they're going to spiral upwards in life. And that's what I want to provide for people, right? And I know that I only can make a certain amount of impact. I only can coach a certain amount of people. And so I need to find those, John Maxwell, right? 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. One of my favorite authors, amazing book. And he talks about you can coach and teach people that are followers. And it's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. You can be a leader there. But when you start leading leaders, that's when you can have monumental difference in this world. So that's what I'm trying to do with the business. It's why I create my podcasts and TikToks and YouTube, and is I want to make a huge impact. I want to have my cake and eat it too. I truly want to change lives. I really, really do.
Well, I appreciate you, Zach, for being here. I know there was one other item that we didn't get to really talk too much about. Can you give us kind of a overview of, you not only teach it, you do it? Can you give a little insight into what happened with turning $1,000 into? Well, let you tell the rest.
Yeah. Well, more valuable than this podcast is some free content that I have. Like if you guys got any value like this at all, you're going to freaking love what I have for you now. So, I've talked a lot about that mindset, that belief that it's possible. And so I was up late one night and I couldn't sleep because I had some people that had family members come to them and they're like, man, I kind of want to give up. I don't know if this is what I should be doing. There's so much negativity. And I was like, man, how do I get people to like see it live? And I thought back to me being a skeptic before and what made me a believer. And what made me a believer is I saw it happen, right? I met a guy named Stan who was a real estate developer and he gave me 2 properties and made over 6 figures. It's hard not to believe it when you see it happen, right? When you put 6 figures in your pocket. So I was like, okay, well, I want to give that gift. I didn't really do anything other than want it to happen. But can I give that gift, that confidence, that experience of seeing deals happen? So I decided to do that. I decided to start from scratch and show people exactly what it takes for absolutely free. So I took $1,000, flew to Tampa, Florida. I'd never been there, by the way. I chose that market because it was nice and warm and it was January. And I took a film crew, and the goal is to turn that $1,000 into $40,000 in just 40 days. $40,000, average American income, right? And it sounded sexy, 40 and 40, right? So that was the challenge. And I ended up doing 5 total deals. I got 7 contracts in that time frame. 2 I canceled, wasn't able to do anything with them. They ended up being duds, foundation issues, and a couple other things. 3 of those deals I passed on for a finder's fee. I didn't have to get debt to buy the houses, none of that stuff, right? I only had $1,000. I used all of it for marketing. So I have no money to do the deals, according to the challenge. I passed those 3 deals on for $93,000 profit, right? Imagine, guys, like I was blown away too. I was like, dang, that was way better than I thought I'd do. I was hoping just like 1 deal. And I did those 3 deals, $93,000. And then the other 2 deals, they were so amazing for rental properties. I couldn't help myself when I bought them. So I bought them each for $110,000 for both of them. They're easily worth about $115,000, $110,000 each. So.
Well, again, thank you, Zach, for being here. For everyone listening, go in the show notes and you'll find all the links to Zach. You can find him on social media. You can find him on all the different platforms. Please subscribe to the Road to Growth podcast. Share and tell your friends. Thank you again, Zach, for being here today.
For sure, for sure. And that link, by the way, to watch that challenge, there's a specialty link to go get it for free. It's dfdmastery.com/40 and 40. I'm sure you said you'd put it in the show notes too. So.
Yeah, so it's definitely in there. Yeah, guys, I mean, there's so many avenues out there to make money, and it goes back to that idea. I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. And I mean, in the low moments, having someone in your corner is going to allow you the ability to take that extra step. It doesn't matter if it's your wife, brother, sister, I mean, father, whoever it might be. But have that person in your quarter is going to make you that much stronger, because we all go through low moments. It's just a matter of who you have there to help you out through those moments. Thanks again, guys. Please subscribe, please share, and tell your friends.